what we're being told to do is don't get close to people. You don't shake hands. You don't gather in large crowds. You don't do things that human beings, by their very nature, want to do. We're social people, by and large. So if you're afraid of something and you're not supposed to deal with other people, what do you do at that point to keep your sanity? And I think that then plays into some of the nonsense that we've been seeing on cable television over the course of the last couple of weeks. We like other people. We want to converse. We want to commiserate. We want to do all those things. Well, how do we deal with that? Hopefully standing by is somebody that can help with this. I know she can. We've had Lee Richardson on the show many, many times. She is a licensed professional counselor. She studies things like human behavior and the role the brain plays in human behavior and how that behavior can be modified by a number of different things and certainly altered by what we're hearing on the air. Let's welcome her in. Here is Lee Richardson. And Lee, how are you on this glorious Tuesday?
Well, thank you for having me. It's a beautiful day down here in Dallas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day everywhere. You know what? I can't speak for you. I can speak for me. I'm healthy. I'm here. I'm trying to deal with all of this stuff. It sounds like you are too. But this social distancing thing has got me bothered a little bit because I understand physically the wisdom of it, but in terms of, when things get tough, we like other people. That's where I'm having a tough time dealing with it. So how would someone like me do that?
Well, I think you're right. When things get tough, we need other people. We don't need to isolate. We need to feel like that we're in touch with ourselves and others. And, I've had a lot of clients come in, and those that have anxiety, their anxiety goes through the roof. They're worried about it. We have no control over it. We don't know about it. It's the only thing we ever hear about it. And what my advice is you know what? Why don't you focus on what you can do for self-protection? How does that virus spread? Mm-hmm. By touch.
Yep.
And how many times a day do you touch your face? Do you even think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think the studies, the stats show we touch our face something like 24 times an hour, 25 times an hour we touch our face.
Absolutely. What people do is become aware of when and why you touch your face. I mean, that's done at that subconscious level, the limbic system in the brain. When we get nervous, we bite our nails. Mm-hmm. When we get confused, maybe we rub our eyes. And if we become more aware of that, and then we start to realize, okay, like I know when I'm sitting in front of my computer, I lean on my hand. And so I'm aware of that now, and instead of leaning on my hand, I'll pick up a little stress ball that I've just put on my desk. Mm. And that gives me something else to do with my hand.
Yeah, you're right. You're replacing a habit, maybe with another habit, but certainly with a healthier habit or a healthier technique. I guess in this day and age, Lee, with texting and Facebook and Instagram or whatever we've got now, we can stay in touch with people, but it's still not the same. I mean, when I was growing up, we had none of that stuff. It was interpersonal communication, and that's how you interacted with somebody, or maybe over the phone. But I worry about this. I think there is a way for people to interact with each other face to face without infecting each other. And I'm not sure what that is. It probably involves, you don't want to start exchanging, bodily fluids, spittle or whatever with the person next to you or in front of you. But I think there are ways that we can still do that without distancing ourselves, don't you?
I do. I think, and it's really basic. Wash your hands a lot. Keep your social distance. Understand spatial awareness. What's in your space? How do you relate to that? I think that there are ways. We just need to stop and think about those ways instead of focusing on it's there, it's everywhere. Yeah. It's going to crawl all over me.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that, because I think there are people that, if not cowering in a corner in their home, I think there are people that are afraid to conduct normal daily business. Now, what we just talked about was simply good hygiene and probably things we should be doing anyway, whether or not there's a coronavirus or not. But for somebody that's afraid to just go out and do something, whether it's walk the dog or mow the grass or whatever it may be, I really think that if you're that consumed by what you're hearing on the news about this, that you probably have some other underlying emotional issues you should address. I think if we just approach this from a common sense standpoint, I think we're going to be okay, don't you?
I do. I think that as long as we put the brakes on, and we instead of hitting the gas pedal every time we hear something on TV, put the brakes on and just put it in perspective, I think we will be okay. But
yet there is this drumbeat, and I think it's gone over the line from alerting people to what's going on to trying to hype it and make an entire broadcast day about it, which unfortunately we see with the major cable networks, Fox, MSNBC, CNN. They got to sell bread, so they're on the air talking about something. There's no more impeachment to talk about, so something has to fill the airwaves. I think there's a fine line between being aware and being forewarned, and then being scared to death and being hit over the head with this stuff. It's important, I think, to know where the facts are coming from and how they're delivered and how you separate hype from fact. And I don't know what you can do if you're not predisposed to that kind of understanding, but I think it's important. How would you convince somebody to just figure out that a lot of what you're hearing is more disruptive than it is informative?
Well, what I try to do is convince people to do their own research. I saw a study yesterday that China has recorded more fully recovered patients than people that are still infected. So that suggests that they're overcoming the epidemic. But you don't hear that on Fox, or you don't hear that on any other stations. And be responsible. Educate yourself. Instead of just clicking on the first thing that you see on the internet, do some research.
Yeah, I agree. Lee Richardson, our guest, licensed professional counselor, someone who is well versed in the human behavior and how the mind affects it. Well, I think, and again, I don't know. I have great belief in the human resource. I think we as a people, really and truly, at the end of it all, know how to deal with these kinds of things. But yet, we've got to be prudent about it. Are you, in your line of work, are you seeing people that are having this kind of angst, this kind of fear of the unknown, or has it not reached that level for you yet?
Well, people that are anxious, this has just given them one more thing to worry about. So I am seeing it. But it's almost like they're juggling. I'll worry about ball number 1, ball number 2. Now we've got ball number 3 in there.
Yeah, I suppose if you want to worry about something, there's always something out there to worry about. Lee, it's always great having you on. Thanks for settling us down, because certainly we all need it at that point. Lee is with the Brain Performance Center. You can check out some of her work. It's online, and it's really good stuff. Lee, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.